Now, I know everyone's really sad because they were expecting a surprise Stranger Things finale. They thought the Duffer Brothers were going to pull out a surprise episode out of nowhere without announcing it and release it today. But that didn't happen, and I think a lot of people are upset about it. But luckily, you do have your every weekly show here at Midnight Movie Theater that you can listen to, and I think that'll make a lot of people happy. And also, I have the remedy for your Stranger Things wants and needs, basically. If you're missing out on Stranger Things right now and you thought there was going to be a 9th episode of the Season 5 finale, what you can do is you can lay down in your bed. You don't even need a television for this. You can play Kate Bush on your headphones or a CD player or a radio or whatever you have at your house. Put that on, close your eyes, lay in your bed, and just imagine a bunch of gay guys kissing. And there you have it. That'll replace your Stranger Things Season 9 finale. I did it for you guys for free. All I'm asking is that you go to my Patreon and sign up for the Patreon as a little favor for filling that Stranger Things gap in your life right now, filling your holes with my Stranger Things knowledge. I need you to sign up for my Patreon because my daycare that I was running in Minnesota just got shut down. I don't know what the problem was, but apparently there's some issues going on with my daycare in Minnesota. I haven't checked up on it in a long time. I just got a letter in the mail about it yesterday. But I'm just kidding about all that. I did watch Stranger Things and I did enjoy it. I thought it was it all made a lot of sense and there were zero holes in the whole show. There were no plot holes at all. It was probably my favorite thing about it. And I'm still waiting for the last episode to come out. And I'll be waiting until the motherfucking Duffer Brothers release that shit. Come on, brothers! Give me my fucking show! It's not over until I say it's over, motherfuckers! Okay, let's get to the real focus of tonight's episode, which is going to be the movie Speak No Evil from 2022. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, Speak No Evil came out in 2024. Well, you're right about that. There is a Speak No Evil remake that came out in 2024, and we'll get to that later. We are going to talk about the remake later on, but tonight's episode is going to be focusing on the original, the 2022 release, the foreign version of this movie, which I think is how this movie is intended to be. We got here because I put out a poll for you guys to recommend your biggest bummer movies. I wanted to start off the year with just a non-stop list of bummer movies. I thought that would be fun for some reason. The bleakest movies you could come up with to start my year off with. The first one was recommended by a guy on Instagram that goes by the name Misshape. It's like The Shape, like Michael Myers, but Misshape, and he's got like a fat Michael Myers for his display picture. It's fucking hilarious. Very funny horror page on IG. Go check him out if you haven't already. And he told me Speak No Evil has got to be on there. And I'd heard about this movie a while back. Almost as soon as I heard about it, though, I was seeing that they were going to be remaking it just 2 years after it came out. Big red flag. Big red flag right away. The 2022 version, and then we got the remake in 2024. So what I was thinking right away, the first thing I thought of was the movie The Vanishing that I watched last year, probably my favorite movie I watched last year. It was made, I think it came out in the late 80s, and then just in like a year or two later, they remade it in the early 90s. And the remake has like Kiefer Sutherland and kind of like an all-star cast. I can't remember who the bitch is that's in that movie. I can't think of her name, but there's a lady in it who's real famous too. It's probably like, Jennifer Love Hewitt or something. I don't know who the fuck's in it. I can't remember. But anyway, basically the consensus is the original movie, The Vanishing, is the best version of it. It has a very bleak ending, but it's a very interesting movie. Very well paced, very well written and acted. As well, the other movie that popped into my head right away was Old Boy, and that is one where like the original, fantastic movie, all-time great movie. A lot of people probably top 10, top 20 best movie of all time. You know what I mean? Has one of the craziest twists in the movie. But then Spike Lee remade it with the guy from the Marvel movies. What's his name? The fucking guy that plays Thanos. Josh Brolin or Joe Brolin or whatever the fucking guy is that does Thanos. He's in it, and Spike Lee directed it, and it's a piece of shit. So just another example of like a foreign movie that's already just a fantastic movie. And then why the fuck does anybody think, oh, we need to make the American version of it and then also make it way shittier? I don't know whose idea that is, who's coming up with these stupid fucking ideas to do this, but that was the first thing I thought of. I heard that the original was very good, had a very dark ending, and I was like, okay, let's get to going. And then I was thinking like, well, there is the remake, so I thought there's no way I'm watching both of them. I did end up watching both of them. After I finished the original, I was like, you know what? I gotta see what the fucking difference is. And I had a feeling it was going to be a shitty one. And it was. I was right. So this movie is mostly about social politeness, I would say. I would say that's like the main focus of the movie. You basically get this story about two families. They meet on vacation. I wouldn't say like they become friends, but they become friendly. And one family is kind of, I would say, overstepping the boundaries of just like normalcy by being like, hey, we've known each other for like one day on a fucking vacation. You should come stay with us for like a week at our house, which no thank you. Sorry. No fucking thank you. No way. No way I would ever do this. I don't know. It is like a frustrating movie. It's one of those movies where the whole time you're just like rubbing your temples and you're just thinking, why the fuck would anybody do this? Why would anybody in their right fucking mind ever do this dumb shit? Fuck. I don't think I learned about social politeness until I was like 23. And even now, I still have the strong understanding of like the benefits of non-social politeness, unpoliteness when it comes to social norms, because sometimes you just need to get the fuck out of there and you can't worry about whose feelings you're going to hurt in the, when you're doing that. What am I saying? When you're doing that type of shit, you just got to do that shit, whether it feels right or not. Or, you got to trust your gut. It's going to feel right. You might think like, damn, I probably hurt that guy's feelings. Fuck them. God damn. It doesn't matter. They'll get over it. Several stories popped in my head right away because when we were playing music, when me, my friends, my brother, we were playing in a band together, there's a couple moments that stuck out to me right away. And there's many more that kept like kind of popping up after watching the movie. And I was like, oh yeah, that too. That kind of falls into this category as well. But there was one in particular where we were supposed to play this show, and when we got there, we were getting ready to unload all our shit, and basically the people that were supposed to be putting on the show were like, yeah, we actually booked like an acoustic like jazz band. We booked you guys at like an acoustic jazz festival at a library, and we were kind of like a punk rock metal band or whatever. So we were kind of like, oh shit, we probably shouldn't play this show, right? Everybody's going to fucking hate us. So we met this guy who was like, hey, you guys can play at my house. And we were like, hell yeah. We did that a couple times anyway, where we would play a last minute show at somebody's house that was like, hey, we could probably get some friends together, throw a little party. You guys could play. It'll be fun. Maybe you'll sell some merch. So we were thinking like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we take this guy in our van right away. He's stinking up the whole damn van. We had to spray him down with Axe, pull his arms over his head and spray down his armpits and shit like that, because we were like, listen, bud, we're going to be living in this van for a month. We cannot have your stinky fucking ass getting into the carpet. So, he understood, but we had to wash him up in the van, spray him down with Axe and Bod and all that good shit. So he's confused about that, but, he's still like, yeah, I'll let you guys play the show at my house. As we're driving there, he starts filling us in on some details about his house that's not actually his house. It's actually his uncle's house. And we're like, oh, okay, you live with your uncle or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I guess so, and we're kind of like, what do you mean you guess so, motherfucker? Either you live with him or you don't live with him. Who's your uncle? Tell us more. So he's like, yeah, and we were on the road with playing with 3 guitar amps, bass amp, and so many goddamn speakers that it was completely unnecessary. But we just loved doing that shit because it was so much fun. But anyway, so this guy's like, yeah, you can come play at my uncle's house. And we're like, all right, he's like, yeah, you can, he'll probably be asleep though. And we were kind of like, what do you mean he'll probably be is he not expecting this? You should probably let him know if we're going to his house. He's like, no, we'll just sneak into the basement. He'll probably be sleeping and then you guys can start playing. And, so we were all giving each other the look like this motherfucker is going to get us shot to death in his uncle's basement. And he's going on about how his uncle just got done beating his wife's ass and stuff like that. And we're kind of like, okay, your uncle sounds like a psychopath who beats up his wife. We probably shouldn't go to his house and just start jamming out in the fucking basement unannounced. He's going to come down there with an Uzi and murder all of us. So basically we pulled up to his uncle's house. We were in this gravel road and we're just like, yeah, why don't you pop outside and just, see if your uncle's there or something. As soon as this motherfucker stepped off the gravel road to his house, we fucking mashed the gas and got the fuck out of there. And we yelled something at him out the window fuck your stupid uncle's house, dumbass. I can't remember. But it's a perfect example of you just got to throw social politeness in the fucking garbage and get the fuck out of there. The only other one I could think of that was really that reminded me of this movie a lot because it took a lot of quick thinking and smart plotting on our part as a group. I feel like we were working as a hive mind at times because we were so fucking smart about doing the right shit. All the time. But we were in Florida and we were playing this show with some goddamn Sublime guys, you know what I mean? Just some white dreadlock guys that stink like fuck. And they're like, yeah, we would usually crash at people's houses. And that's why there's probably an endless amount of these stories where it's yeah, we probably shouldn't have stayed with these people because they looked like they were going to eat our fucking guts. So these guys are like, yeah, you can stay at our house. We kind of have a fucking dumb house that you can come stay at. And we're like, great, that's better than staying in the van probably. Let's go check it out. We get there. The whole house reeks of cat piss. There's 20 or 30, 311 guys sitting around just smoking fucking, not even weed. They're smoking Spice or what was that other thing? 4K or... what the fuck was that other thing called? Four Loko. What? No. What? It was Spice and something else. I can't think of what it is. But the shit that's not really weed that they used to sell at the gas stations in 2008 that would fucking turn your brain to shit. Anyway, basically last minute we're just pretended we got a phone call and we were like, oh damn, my cousin's in Florida actually, we're gonna go meet up with him. And they're just yeah, sounds good. And we said, all right, see you later. Not staying in the cat shit house. Damn. And that's the right call for sure. The only one I can say that our initial gut feeling was definitely we got to get the fuck out of here. And then it turned out to be all right. Was this guy, I think in Rhode Island or something, somewhere in the Northeast coast, who I can't remember exactly where it was, but we go into his house and he's like, I'm going to cook you guys fucking chicken. I'm going to cook you guys fucking dinner and shit like that. And like me and all my fucking friends are coming over. And he had like this group of friends that were like, East Coast, like hardcore, tough guys and shit like that. So we were kind of like, all right, this is a little out of our element, but they seem nice. One of the guys was singing Danzig really loud in the van. So I was like, all right, this guy seems pretty cool. I think I could hang out with this guy all night. And so we get there and there's just like keeps talking about this chicken he's going to cook for us. And like, we've been gone for hours. We played the show, got something to eat, and he's with us the whole time. And then we get into his house and like we see just raw chicken sitting out on the counter. And our first thought was, did he sit that chicken out all day? I just remember my brother being like, don't eat the chicken. He was like warning us quietly, you guys don't eat the chicken. And yeah. We did eat the chicken. It ended up being good. I think finally somebody asked like, hey, what's the deal with that chicken? Was it sitting out all day? What? And he was like, no, I just set it out right before, or like right when we walked in the door. I was like, oh, okay. And it ended up being pretty cool. Pretty good place to stay overall. Everybody there was nice, even though it seemed like anybody there could kill us at any moment. They didn't, and they were all very cool. So that's just a bunch of bullshit stories. I just have been rattling all this shit off nonstop. We haven't even talked about the damn movie other than, it came out in 2022 and there's a remake. So let's go ahead and get into the motherfucking spoilers and talk about this movie. And at the end, we're going to really talk about the differences between the 2022 and the 2024 version. So you're going to want to stick around for that shit. So the movie starts off with some headlights driving down like a really dark gravel road. It reminded me a lot of us pulling up to that guy's uncle's house because of the gravel road, and it was dark. At first, you can't really see what's going on in the movie, but then you start to see like a path lined with trees. It's a really cool shot. One thing I'm going to say about the original version of this movie, the way it's filmed looks amazing. The whole movie, it looks like it's so well done, so well shot. The angles that they decide to use and whatnot are just really, really well done. And same thing with the pacing. The pacing in this movie is fantastic. And I'll get ahead of myself if I go on about that for too long. But anyway, so the car comes to a stop. This family starts to unload the car. This shot is a really high up angle, so you can't really even tell like who they are or what they look like at first, just kind of like a general idea. So it's kind of hard to tell like what they're unloading or what they're even doing. It feels tense. The whole original movie feels very tense the entire time because of the pacing and the way that it's shot. Anyway, then we cut to the next day. We're with a family that appears to be on vacation. They're at a community pool and this guy just comes up, casually and asks if he can borrow one of the chairs next to him. Like, are you using this? And they're like, no, you got it. Take the damn chair. We don't care. The main family we're following around is out at a community dinner after that. They must be staying at some sort of like group vacation, I guess like a resort or whatever. And we see that their daughter is being babysat at the dinner. This guy, the same guy that borrowed the chair, stands up and does like a toast to Italy and all the beautiful people at this resort. So everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, that guy seems pretty cool, Seems like a nice, outgoing, friendly guy. Later on, the group of people watch a little musical performance. During this performance, the same guy that did the toast just kind of looks back and raises his glass up to our main guy character. The main couple's name are Bjorn and Louise, and they are a Danish couple. Their daughter's name is Agnes. So Bjorn gets a little salute or a toast from this other guy who seems to be an outgoing, friendly dad. The main family is tucked in for bed and Bjorn gets up to look out the window. It seems like the guy that was toasting, Patrick is his name-o, is just kind of standing down in the garden looking up at their window. When Bjorn kind of like does a double take, he's just gone. And so he's like, it's kind of weird, but Whatever. The next day, Bjorn gets separated from his family for a bit to find Agnes's lost stuffed bunny. She loves this fucking bunny and she can't let it go. So he's like, all right. So he's like kind of wandering around the city or whatever, trying to find it, like backtracking. When he comes back, Bjorn's family is meeting Patrick's family. His wife's name is Karen and their son's name is Abel. They're a Dutch family. Bjorn explains that he went to find his daughter's rabbit and Patrick is like, wow, how heroic. And Bjorn just kind of like laughs about it. But Patrick's like, no, I mean it. That's a really heroic thing to do. And he like puts his hand on his shoulder and shit. Like he's like, man to man, big respect for finding that damn rabbit. So the families go out to eat together. They find out that Luis is vegetarian and Patrick is very complimentary of this. He's always just kind of like, yeah, everything you guys are doing is great. That's really good for the environment and stuff like that. And we should all learn a lesson from you, Luis, and stuff like that. Like he just comes off as like he's really trying to win them over. He's really complimentary this whole time. We see the families hanging out even more later on. After that, they go home and the dad gets their daughter to bed. So this is a while after their vacation and they receive a letter from Patrick and Karen inviting them to come to Poland and spend some time together. Right away, Luis is like, yeah, that sounds great, but it also sounds like a long stay with people we barely know. So now let's just forget about it. And Bjorn is kind of like, you can tell he wants to do it, but he doesn't really say it out loud. You can tell he's just kind of disappointed by how fast Luis is like, nah, I don't think so. And then she just keeps kind of going on about what she was talking about before. She's like, we need to get Agnes some new clothes and shit. And you get this feeling about Bjorn. They don't ever really like come out and say it until maybe like way later on in the movie. And even then it's probably pretty subtle. You just kind of get this feeling that like he is unfulfilled or he's like restless. Like he seems really excited about meeting this new family and stuff like that. And when it shows them doing their like day-to-day stuff with their daughter, he just seems kind of like he's not that into it. He's not that focused. He's always kind of like staring off or kind of like just, nodding along like, oh, yeah, this is really fun. So that's just something that I feel like the movie does really well. It shows you how he's feeling without coming out and him like getting into a big argument with Luis or something to like explain like, this is my character and this is how I feel. God damn it. So they go on doing their typical day-to-day lives after that. We see them at one of Agnes's plays and then they have some friends over for dinner and Bjorn brings up the invitation they received just kind of like out of nowhere. They're with these like seem like a more familiar couple that they have over at their house. And Luis is like, yeah, no, we've already, flown twice this year. We're not going. You know what I mean? But their friends are like, well, you could just drive there. It's only like an 8-hour drive. And Bjorn is getting all hyped up about it. He's like, oh yeah, we can do that. No problem. Yeah, I'll drive 8 hours. No fucking problem, bud. And the friends are kind of pushing it too. They're like, oh yeah, you totally should. It's a great opportunity, What's the worst that could happen? Next thing we know, Bjorn's family is pulling up to Patrick's family's house. Their house is very nice and they live in like a beautiful wooded area in Poland, like out in the country. I guess it's like a farm or a farmhouse at least. They're showing the family around the house. Right away, they have a bed made up in their son's room for Agnes. And you can tell the daughter's just kind of like, hell no, I don't sleep in no motherfucking bullshit room like this on the floor. I want to sleep with you guys because she's still like sleeping with her mom and dad and shit most of the time, it seems like. Later on, Patrick is like, hey, I prepared a wild boar for dinner or some shit like that. And Luis, you got to try this goddamn wild boar. And she's vegetarian, so she's like, no, thank you, but no. But he keeps like insisting in just like a really excited, like happy way. He's like, oh, come on. It's the best part. It's my favorite part of the damn boar. You got to fucking... So she reluctantly takes a very small bite and she's like, oh, you can tell she's like, what the fuck? And she's kind of always looking at Bjorn like, hey, help me out here, motherfucker. But he just kind of like shrugs his shoulder like, well, I'm a big ass pussy and I'm never going to say no to anything. Bjorn is outside taking out the trash, and he gets surprised by Abel, the boy, the son. And Bjorn's like, oh, hi there, Abel. And before this, they've kind of mentioned like, yeah, Abel, he's really shy. He's really, he doesn't like to talk in front of people and stuff like that. So they haven't really heard much from him. And then all of a sudden, Abel just opens up his damn mouth, and we see that he has 0 tongues in his mouth.
What?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah. He's a no-tongue boy. This gets interrupted by Patrick being like, hey, Abel, come on over here, God damn it. Don't be fucking showing him your tongue.
God damn.
Later on, the adults are sitting around talking, and Abel is just making a shitload of noise in the background. Patrick explains that he has this disease, I can't remember, I didn't write it down, that caused him to be born without a tongue, or at least like a very small tongue, and that's why he's got the little nub in his mouth and he can't talk. The next day, both families go for a walk through some fields, very beautiful shots again. They end up near a small playground and a windmill. Agnes is trying to slide, but Abel is just kind of blocking her. He's like standing at the end of the slide, and she's like, come on, hey, can somebody tell Abel to move? Hey, tell Abel to move, okay? And the dad's finally like, hey, Patrick, can you ask Abel to move? Patrick just goes over there and grabs the shit out of him like hard as fuck and like yanks him around by the arm and is just like, apologize to Agnes right now, motherfucker. After this, Louise finally tells Bjorn, hey, I don't really like being here. The vibe is off. And Patrick's like, oh, really? How come? I don't really notice anything weird. This gets interrupted by Karen inviting them to dinner later on that night. And of course, Bjorn's like, oh yeah, she seems so terrible. Oh yeah, she's so, we need to get the fuck out of here because she's so mean and rude or whatever. So we cut to Louise and Agnes getting their coats on and getting ready for dinner when they notice Abel just kind of walking around in his pajamas, even though their daughter is ready to go. The doorbell rings and this guy walks in whose name is Muhajid.
What? What?
Yeah, Muhajid just walks in and Karen's like, yep, this is the babysitter for tonight. And Louise is like, oh, I thought the kids were coming too, right? And Karen's like, no, didn't I tell you? Muhajid's going to watch your daughter and our son alone together. Didn't I tell you that? And Louise looks like she's about to come fucking unglued. And honestly, like, this is one of those movies where you're just kind of thinking like, where would my boiling point be? Where would I just throw in the fucking towel? This would 100% be the end for me personally. And I would just be like, all right, guys, if the kids aren't coming and we're going to leave our kids here with this fucking stranger that you guys want me to trust, even though I've never met his ass before, no. The answer is no. We're getting back in the car. We're driving home. Fuck your stupid house and fuck your stupid babysitter. Motherfuckers, I'm going home. There's nothing you can do to stop me. So, and I wouldn't be in this situation because I wouldn't go to these fucking motherfuckers' houses, to be honest with you. So there would be no babysitter from, whatever the fuck this guy is, Muhammad or whatever, Muhajid. Patrick and Karen kind of rush them out the door, though. They're like, oh no, he's the best babysitter in the neighborhood. Don't even worry about this motherfucker. He had to flee his country because of a war. So this is like the only job he can get or something like that. They kind of like throw this little like pity party for him too, so that Bjorn and Louise will just be like, I guess if he's your guys' babysitter, fuck, I guess. So anyway, they rush him out the door. They're like, we got to go. We got reservations at this bar or whatever. So they're driving to this bar. You can tell they're uncomfortable as hell. I mean, like, holy fuck. I can't even imagine just being like, yeah, I just left my little daughter in the hands of some strange guy. And these other strangers are now like driving us far, far away on a dirt road to some bar that could be completely made up. And they could just be taking us here to kill us. That would be going through my head nonstop, and I would not be able to stop it, and I would be like, pull the fucking car over, motherfuckers. Turn the fucking car around right now.
What?
I'm about to fucking eat your ass. At the dinner, Patrick, they get to the bar. Patrick orders for them. He's just like, oh, yeah, I know the best shit to order here and shit. Luis reminds him that she's vegetarian, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's like, don't you eat fish, though? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, so you're actually a pescatarian. And he's kind of getting a little bit like more aggressive. He's definitely not the charming, complimentary guy that we saw at the beginning of the movie. And then he's just like, oh, yeah. She's like, for the environment and stuff. And he's just kind of like, oh, yeah. So you think the fishing industry is really good for the environment? And he's just being very patronizing with the way he's talking to her right now. The bar is also completely empty except for these four. And it just kind of looks like some hole in the wall like shit bar. After they have some drinks, Patrick and Karen get up and start bumping and grinding to some fucking classic rock, like really hard. There's like Def Leppard playing, and they're just like basically doing it doggy style on the back of the bar. And it's like, what? Bjorn and Louise, they don't want to miss out on this. At first you can tell they're so uncomfortable, but they're just like, I guess we should probably join them. How often do we get to leave our child with a strange, Indian man and go to some bullshit bar and eat goddamn fish? But they get up, they do their best, but they just kind of end up standing around awkwardly with each other while these two are just like moaning and fucking right next to him. At the end of the night, Patrick's like, oh, he looks at the bill. He's like, oh, wow, someone had a lot of fun tonight. And Bjorn's like, oh, yeah, because before they're like, it's on us, dinner's on us tonight. And then Bjorn's like, do you want me to chip in for the bill, if it's expensive or whatever? And Patrick just goes, oh, that's so kind of you, and just hands him the bill and walks away. And Bjorn's just kind of like, oh, okay, so I'm covering the bill. And Patrick's like, yep, thanks a lot, I appreciate it, and just leaves him there with the bill. And you can tell he's kind of like, what the fuck? That's not what we agreed to, but all right, bud. On the way home, Patrick starts blasting some rock music on his cassette player or whatever in the car. Luis just keeps asking him to turn it down, but he's shit-faced drunk, and he's swerving all over the damn road, and he just keeps like cranking up the music. He'll like turn it down for a little bit, and she's like, okay, thank you. And then he'll kind of look back and fucking crank up the music again and just like swerve all over the fucking place. They get back to their house. They see that their daughter is asleep in Abel's room. Luis is like, okay, I'm going to go take a shower. In the middle of her shower, someone walks in the bathroom and starts brushing their teeth. Pretty sure it's Patrick. And she just like kind of huddles up and stays really quiet. And as soon as they leave, she shuts the shower off. She goes back in bed with Bjorn. Bjorn's like, how was the shower? And she just doesn't say anything at all. She starts just like really cuddling up to him. Since they have their bed alone, they end up having sex pretty quick. Right in the middle of it, their daughter kind of starts like hollering for them, asking like, hey, can I come in your room and stuff like that? But they just kind of ignore her. Bjorn looks over and sees Patrick staring at them having sex through a little window in the room. He's like full on making eye contact with Bjorn, and Bjorn just kind of like makes a face and then doesn't say anything, doesn't stop, just kind of like, is like, what the fuck, motherfucker? Are you watching me do it, dude? What the fuck?
God damn.
In the middle of the night, Luis gets up and checks on their daughter. She's not in the bed in Abel's room. So she kind of starts looking around the house. She goes and peeks in Patrick and Karen's room, and their daughter is sleeping in between Patrick and Karen, and Patrick is butt-ass naked in the bed. Oh my God. So yeah, this is another thing where it's just like, I don't even know, dude. Like, she grabs the daughter and runs back to Bjorn and is like, okay, wake the fuck up, Bjorn. We're leaving, bud. No more staying the night at your dumbass friend's house. We need to get the fuck out of here. And he's just like, yeah, okay, we can do that. And so they pack their shit and leave. I get that, like, this is probably the best case scenario, but it's like, dude, you would almost want to just drag fucking Patrick out of the bed by his ankles and just give him like a straight up WWF style, like crotch stomp, like fucking how The Rock used to do it or whatever, and put his ass in the Scorpion Deathlock and fucking kill him. Anyway, there's a little ways down the road, and Agnes starts asking like, "Oh, where's my rabbit? Oh no, I lost my rabbit." And they start looking all over for the stuffed rabbit. They check the trunk, they pull over, and they're looking everywhere. I guess maybe not everywhere, but he's nowhere to be found. And Luis is like, forget about the damn rabbit, okay? We need to get the fuck out of here. The rabbit's gone. We'll get you a different fucking rabbit. Luis is trying to comfort her, but the daughter is pretty sad. And then, holy fuck, would you guess? The dumbass dad decides to whip a U-turn and go back to get the damn rabbit. So it's like, come on, bud. Pull your fucking head out of your ass. Get out of there. Your daughter will forgive you 100%. And a year from now, she'll look back at all this and laugh. Just forget the fucking rabbit. If anything, just be like, listen, we'll ask the motherfuckers to mail it because I'm sure they know how to use the goddamn mailbox. Doesn't everyone know how to use a goddamn mailbox? You could just stick the motherfucker in the mailbox and put the flag up. You don't even have to go to the post office, you stupid motherfucker. Anyway, he pulls back up to their house and is like, all right, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Just wait in the car. Right then, as soon as he gets in the house, Agnes finds the bunny under his seat. So it's like, okay, motherfuckers, you did not look very hard. You looked in the trunk and that's it. You didn't think to look under the goddamn seat before driving all the way back here to this freak's house. So Luis is like, oh, okay, shit, I'm going to go inside and get your dad. Hopefully we can still leave. She walks into the house. She starts looking around for Bjorn. She finds him in the kitchen explaining while they're leaving early to Patrick, but he's just trying to be like too polite about it. And Patrick just keeps asking him to explain himself more and more. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're leaving without fucking saying goodbye. What did we do? It was so horrible that you guys had to leave in the middle of the night. Luis walks in and just kind of stands around until Bjorn is like, hey, can you help me out here? I don't know what the fuck to say to this guy. So she explains all the problems with them serving her meat as a vegetarian, the loud music, the drinking and driving, and ends with so many things have felt very wrong and we're sorry, but that's just how it is. We need to leave. And Patrick finally says, oh my God, I'm shocked. And then Karen's like, we're really sorry. We forgot you were vegetarian, You could have just reminded us. And she kind of explains all the other things away as if it's really been no big deal. They're just kind of like, it's just our lifestyle is a little different than your guys' as we kind of forget that, not everybody lives this way. Finally, it's just too much. And Luis is like, what about picking up our daughter and putting her in your bed where you sleep naked? And Karen's just like, okay, well, where were you while your daughter was crying? We just didn't want to hear her cry all night, so we picked her up and put her in our bed. Patrick interrupts and is like, listen, you can leave, but I hope you'll stay because today we're going to have a great day. I promise. We'll turn this all around. And it's just like, oh my God, they're staying. Fucking bunch of dumb fucking idiots. What? Fucking bunch of dumbass motherfuckers. How are you going to stay here? I would be like, I bet you will have a great day. So are we on the road driving back to our house so we can stay at our house without a bunch of fucking freaky ass motherfuckers. Fuck. Patrick takes Bjorn for a drive and asks permission to turn on the radio. He's just kind of like, is it okay if I turn on the radio, Bjorn? Is it going to be too loud, motherfucker? And then he asks Bjorn like what kind of music he likes. And he's just like, does that thing is like Bjorn is such a little wimpy ass pussy. And so like wishy-washy about everything. He's just kind of like, oh, I like all kinds of music, I'm one of those guys. I listen to everything. And then Patrick plays a song that's called It Never Ends and starts singing it to Bjorn. He's like making eye contact. It's a really soft, almost like lullaby sounding song. And Bjorn is just kind of smiling at Patrick while this is happening. It's like, okay, you should throw yourself out of the moving car. Either one of you or both. It's just get it over with. What? Now they're parked and we see that there are groceries in the back of the car, so they must have gone shopping. Patrick's explaining this wild feeling he has inside of him that he likes. And Bjorn's like, yeah, I kind of have that feeling too, but I just keep it bottled up inside. And after this, Bjorn starts crying and just explains how he's turned into some normal guy going through the motions. He never like does anything he wants anymore. He's just kind of like a typical, I guess, he's saying that he's like a typical family man, basically. And Patrick's like, all right, come here. I need to show you something. So these two, they walk across these big sand dunes for quite a while. And then we get a really far away shot of them standing on this sandy hill. You can barely hear anything because the wind is so loud in this shot and we're so far away. And then Patrick just starts yelling and Bjorn joins him. And they have this little moment where they just fucking yell together. And it's just like this little, I guess like a little therapy session when you think about it that Bjorn just went on through Patrick. So you just kind of get the feeling that Bjorn never really cuts loose. He never says what's on his mind. He just is that way all of the time. This cuts to them back at the house yelling in their undies, running into the hot tub together. What? Patrick and Louise are helping get lunch ready, and Louise cuts her finger really bad, and they're just kind of like, oh, damn, that's pretty deep. Good thing Patrick's a doctor, because when they first met, I don't think I mentioned this, Patrick tells them he's a doctor. That's something that they kind of talk to their friends about too. They're like, yeah, this guy's a doctor, they live in this cool house in Poland or whatever. And then he just walks over there and he just goes, what? He's like, I'm not a doctor. I lied to you guys about that. What? And they're like, oh, you did? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, why? He says, well, I get insecure sometimes about shit like that. I'm actually an unemployed guy, and I don't believe in working. Give me a hell yeah! Once again, they're kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? So we're at your house. This whole time we thought you were like a doctor, which, at least gives you some sort of credibility as like, okay, you're, have a job at least, I guess. So you contribute to society in some way. Also, Karen corrects their daughter about how she sets the table because she's helping get the table set. And then during the meal, she just keeps kind of bossing their daughter around about how she's eating. It's just very uncomfortable because she's like nitpicking their daughter constantly, like right in front of the parents. Eventually, Louise just interrupts and says, stop telling my daughter what to do. And Karen's like, okay, just relax. Gosh. They always act like that, like Louise is the only one that'll ever stand up to them and say anything. And every time they do, they just act like, God damn, what's this bitch's problem? She needs to fucking take a goddamn chill pill. God damn. This cuts to Agnes and Abel showing them a dance routine that they put together. In the middle, I can't remember what song is playing, but in the middle of it, Patrick just like turns the radio off really fast, or the cassette player, and he's just like getting fucking pissed off at Abel for not having rhythm and messing up the routine. He's just like, God damn it, Abel. Can't you fucking dance, you little fucking motherfucker? He's like an 8-year-old boy. Bjorn cuts in and is like, hey, they're just kids, Patrick. It's going to be okay. And Patrick's like, no, it's not. This kid cannot fucking dance to save his fucking life. He jumps up and grabs Abel by the face and is just like, look at her dance. Look at Agnes dance, motherfucker. You need to dance like her. And he's like, do it again. Do the fucking dance again. So they try again, and Patrick just launches a cup across the room at Abel's head and is like, no more fucking dancing, Abel. You're not allowed to fucking dance anymore. And Abel starts crying. Patrick just keeps playing the music and telling him to dance after this. He's like, oh yeah, keep fucking dancing, you little bitch. You'll never figure out how to fucking dance ever. After a little while, Bjorn finally gets up and shuts the music off, and Patrick's like, what's the problem? What's the big deal, I'm just fucking talking to my son about dancing. And Bjorn's like, hey, your son's crying. He's in pain. You threw a fucking cup at his head or some shit. Louise goes outside and has to take some deep breaths. She's like on the verge of having a fucking panic attack. I don't know why they want to just leave now. Bjorn and Agnes follow her out, and she just yells at them to go back inside. She's like, I don't know why. If I was her, I'd be like, you guys, come out here and join me. Get to the car. We'll just leave all of our shit. Who cares? These guys are fucking crazy. It's just like, I get that she's really pissed, but they should just be leaving at this point. Later on, they're getting ready for bed. Bjorn is brushing his teeth, and Patrick just walks in and starts pissing. He's just kind of like, yeah, I do whatever I want in my house. I piss anytime anyone's in the bathroom at my house. What? I don't give a fuck. What? Later on, they're sleeping. Bjorn just wakes up and he's listening to Patrick yelling at Abel while he makes all these like moaning noises, like he was earlier. After a while, Bjorn gets up, walks into the living room where the TV is just like cranked. It's like blaring. The speakers are fucking going nuts. Bjorn turns off the TV and shuts off the running sink, and then sees a door that's just kind of like slamming open and shut in the wind. And he's like, oh, what the fuck's that all about? It's like this little shed outside in the backyard. So he goes to check it out. He's like, maybe he's thinking that fucking Patrick or Abel's there or some shit. You know what I mean? He goes in there and sees that it's full of luggage and cameras all lined up on these shelves, like a shitload of it. He goes a little further into the shed, like climbs up this loft area and sees hundreds of Polaroids with Patrick, Karen, and other families next to them. And almost always families of 3. So it's like exactly what's going on right now. And he realizes that in each previous picture, the other family's child is now with them in the following picture, posing as their child. And they look noticeably less happy than before in the other picture. So basically, he figures out the whole twist right now. They do this all the time. They apparently like swap out kids with families that they meet up with, kidnap them, probably kill the parents and stuff like that. After that, Bjorn walks over to the pool house and finds that Abel has been drowned in the hot tub, which is another, just a big shocking scene where you just see his body floating there and you're like, okay, time to go, time to leave. So Bjorn goes back, wakes up his family, and he's just like, we got to leave right goddamn now. Get in the fucking car. So they get in the car. They start driving down the road. Right away, I was thinking like, okay, it looks like their gas tank is pretty low. So that's not good. It seems like they're in kind of a secluded area. Bjorn is a little ways down the road and pulls up behind, God damn it. While he's driving down the road, they pass a car, and this car just kind of pulls up behind them and drives past them really quickly. So it's kind of like, okay, that's not good. They stop to get gas, and you can always just kind of see the car driving by throughout most of these scenes. They get back on the road. They pass a parked car on the shoulder, and as soon as they go by, the car's lights flick on and pull it behind them like really fast. Bjorn drives off the road. I couldn't tell if it was to try to lose this car or if they got run off the road. It's really hard to tell, but nobody's like acting that worried about it. It seems like he chose to drive off the road. Their car gets stuck out in a field. He can't back up or anything. They don't have any cell phone service. I'm guessing like this whole time. I didn't really think too much about that because we'll talk about it later, because in the other movie, they also don't have cell phone service in the remake, but it's like constant. Anyway, Bjorn sees a house nearby and he's like, hey, I'm going to run over there and see if I can get some help. We see Patrick watching all of this from like a bush nearby. Bjorn gets to the house. He like wades through like a little moat that's around the house, climbs up a fence, starts banging on the door, yelling for help. Nobody answers. So he runs back to the car. When he gets there, Luis and Agnes are no longer in the car. God damn it. He starts running around looking for them. He's yelling and crying, but no sign of them anywhere. In the distance, some headlights approach. They stop right in front of Bjorn, and of course, Patrick gets out. He says, hey, thanks for the call, mate. I'm glad you agreed to meet us up here on the road, And you can tell he's just kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about? And we see Luis and Agnes in the car, and Luis says, it's very nice of you guys to help us. Patrick walks up to Bjorn and just says, get in that car. Bjorn begs him not to hurt them. Patrick assures him that as long as he does what they say, everything's going to be all right. So they keep driving, and clearly Luis doesn't realize anything crazy has happened. I was hoping that while they were driving, Bjorn would have tried to like clue her in on how serious the situation really was. Like, I get that everything before was uncalled for, would not be okay in any situation, but finding the dead boy, I feel like that takes this to like a whole nother level. And finding all those Polaroids, you think you'd be like, listen, we need to get out of here because our life depends on it. Maybe try to like do it in a code way so not to scare their daughter, you know what I mean? But still, I couldn't believe that he didn't like try to alert her in any way. So he's like, if you see these motherfuckers, run. Get the fuck out of there. Patrick stops to piss and he leaves the keys in the ignition, and Bjorn does not even make a move. It's like he's the only one that knows exactly how extreme the circumstances are right now. I get that, what's her name? Fucking Karen's in the car with him, but drive off. Tell your wife, beat the fuck out of Karen, and then like, drive far enough away to where you can just like boot her ass out of the car or something. I don't know. Or to where you can switch places and you beat the Karen's ass and your wife can drive or whatever. Like, I know that this guy is the biggest pussy in the world, Bjorn, but he should at least be able to beat Karen's ass, right? Am I fucking right, guys? What? Jeez Louise. What? This is so frustrating. So he doesn't make a move. Agnes starts to speak up that she's scared. Luis tries to comfort her, and Patrick is like, be quiet back there. And Luis is like, excuse me? What? And he's like, shut the fuck up or whatever. And then they're like, how long until we get back? Patrick pulls off somewhere and flashes his brights, and then some other brights flash back at him. And it looks like Mohimad or whatever the fucking guy's name of the Muslim guy walks up to the car. Finally, Bjorn tries to stand up to Patrick, and he just gets punched right in the face and just kind of whimpers and starts crying. Mohimad comes over and starts choking out Luis in the back seat. And it's just like, okay, guys, now do something. Like, you've waited too goddamn long. You need to start doing something. Fight these fucking people no matter what. Like, fight them like you're a fucking wild animal. But they don't. So they grab Agnes and they just straight up cut out her tongue with a pair of scissors in the back of the damn car in front of Bjorn and Luis. And then Mohimad just fucking takes the girl away. Mohammed, I don't know what this guy's name is. Patrick keeps driving. So the daughter is completely gone. Muhammad or whatever took him. Luis is freaking out, trying to get them to stop. She's like, stop the fucking car and shit. But they're not really doing anything to make this happen. Obviously, like, if you just saw that, I'm sure you'd be in shock. You probably want to know what the fuck's really going on. Either way, you just saw somebody cut off your freaking daughter's tongue. You need to just start like tearing that person's eyes out or something, just biting and scratching and punching and choking. Whatever you got to do, you just do it. You know what I mean? But anyway, she's not doing anything. She's just kind of like lightly punching the seats and slapping shit in the car, You got to gouge their eyes out. That's the next step from there. Like, you got to escalate the situation much further, much faster. Like, okay, you guys are just going to kidnap us right now or whatever and probably kill us. I'm going to tear your eyeballs out because what else can I do with this situation? Jeez Louise, motherfuckers. Bjorn is just up front crying to himself. It's like, come on, bud. Do anything. Grab the fucking e-brake or something. Unbuckle this motherfucker's seatbelt and just send him flying through the damn windshield. Or something. Like, how can you not beat up a guy that's driving a car? He's not even pulled over and he's still whooping your ass. They get to a spot that they went to earlier where it's like the dunes where they were screaming, They bring Bjorn and Luis out of the car with, honestly, no resistance at all. Bjorn is just like... Bjorn asks them, why are you doing this? And Patrick answers, because you let me. And it's kind of one of those lines, almost like The Strangers, where it's just like that has that much impact or whatever as far as the movie goes. It really just hammers home what this movie's about. They could have tried a little harder to stand up for themselves, for sure. And then, so they don't even have any weapons. Like, Patrick and Karen don't have any weapons. They've got them out of the car on this fucking dirt road. Their daughter's been kidnapped by this Muslim guy. And then he's just like, all right, take your clothes off. And they do. Like, no questions asked. They just strip down butt fucking naked. They walk down to this big, like, quarry. It's like a really deep, like, quarry, like a ditch, And they just kind of stand down there and hold on to each other. And then Luis gets smoked in the head with two big rocks and falls down. She seems like she's unconscious or nearly dead. And then they just keep getting hit with rocks over and over again until they are dead. After they're dead, Patrick and Karen, they hug each other, and then we get a few really distant shots of Bjorn and Luis's dead bodies in the quarry. This cuts to the same community pool where Patrick first asked Bjorn if he could borrow that chair. We cut to Patrick and Karen driving home with Agnes in the back seat, holding on to her bunny. And then we get the credits. Yeah, it's just a goddamn motherfucker of a movie where it's like, it couldn't, I don't know. It couldn't get more frustrating. It couldn't get more bleak as far as the ending goes. It's like, it's hard to even like put yourselves in these characters' shoes where you're like, holy fuck, dudes. I don't know. I don't think so. You know what I mean? It's like, I get that, like, probably a lot of the talk on here about just like bringing an Uzi and shooting all the screen, the ghost face characters and stuff like that I've done. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of bullshit. But at the same time, in this situation, if you're like, you got to be like 99% certain that this motherfucker is going to kill you at this point. Like Bjorn knows that. And because he's seen the Polaroids and all that shit. And Luis probably even knows that because their daughter just got kidnapped right in front of him and got her fucking tongue cut off. So it's like, what else do you think is going to happen right now? Do you think they're going to let you go? Do you think they're going to give your daughter back without the tongue? You saw what happened to fucking Abel, you dumb motherfuckers. Oh my God. It's just, I couldn't get over it. It's like one of those movies where you just think about it for like an hour after it's done. And that's the whole point. And I think that's what makes this movie a really, really good, effective movie for what it is. I can't say that I personally like enjoyed it, but I think that's kind of the point too. So it does what it's trying to do really, really well. So I thought that was, as far as that goes, it nailed it. So now let's just go ahead and talk about some of the differences between the original and the remake. So kind of like I mentioned early, overall, the pacing is way off. Like in the original, the pacing is fantastic. It makes the movie like you're kind of hanging on the edge of your seat the whole time because you're just like, holy fuck, leave. And everything is just kind of happening in such a natural progression that makes it like believable enough. Like there is some things about the fucking both movies that I'm just like, that's completely unbelievable. It stands out a lot more in the remake than the original. Afterwards, I was thinking about the original and I was like, okay, so if they've done this to hundreds of families, or whatever it seemed like as far as like how many Polaroids they had in that shed, somebody would have found out by now. Like, there's no way. I mean, and it's just like, that's the most unrealistic thing about the movie by far. I think the politeness is obviously like pretty unrealistic too, but given the right circumstances, you could see how somebody with the Bjorn's personality might get sucked into this. But yeah, with all the Polaroids and all the families that they've done this to or whatever, it's like, even in their situation, they told their friends like, yeah, we're going to go on this vacation to this family, in Poland or whatever, and we're going to stay with them and shit like that. So as soon as they come up missing, like they seem like, it's one of those things where it's like, these aren't people that would go unnoticed. I'm sure they have other family. They obviously have other friends. As soon as they turn up missing, their friends or somebody is going to tell the police like, yeah, they said they were going to stay with like these new friends that they met on vacation, yada, yada. They're going to put the fucking pieces together and find these guys. And you can't convince me that this wouldn't have happened with like all these other families that were, Patrick and Karen met on these nice vacations. Like all these people would have, some of them would have families, some of them would have friends that would know that they were going to stay with these people at some point. There would be the postcard as evidence, so many things, even like just, it's 2022. So like cell phone towers, even though they might not have service there, their last like shown location or whatever would be close by to these people's house. Anyway, that's the most unbelievable thing about both goddamn movies for sure. So, but yeah, the pacing overall, like I said, is just dog shit in the new one. It feels like everything is just like sped up. It feels like it does the first movie, like it does the original movie as fast as you can just to get to the new ending, because the American version, the big difference is the ending. The ending is completely different. It basically turns into like a Straw Dogs, like home invasion type of situation, almost like a reverse home invasion type of situation. But we'll get into that more soon enough. Or I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about it right now since we're going over all the differences. So at the end of the American version, basically like the Patrick and Karen characters, they have the family like not tied up, but they have them, or they do have them like, I think their wrists bound or something in a shed, and they're getting ready to like tranquilize them and kill them. And they just had them like transfer all their money into their accounts and stuff like that. And they're kind of explaining like, yeah, we got somebody that's going to buy your fucking car already, motherfuckers. You're fucked. And right before they get ready to tranquilize them, Luis has like snuck a razor blade in her pocket. So she whips that shit out and she slashes Patrick in the face with it. And then Karen has a shotgun. She snatches the shotgun from Karen somehow. I can't even remember exactly how she ends up with a shotgun, but she does. And instead of like holding them at gunpoint and waiting till the cops get there or something, or, holding them at gunpoint and being like, okay, fucking Bjorn, you go call the cops. I'm going to make sure these motherfuckers don't move or something. They just leave and they try to leave. But basically the Muhammad guy of the new movie shows up and stops them from leaving. So they retreat back into the house, and then they get into like a reverse home invasion situation where they're trying to keep Patrick and Karen out of their house until they can figure out a way to escape or whatever. So that's how it ends, basically. That's the new ending for the new movie. It's just kind of like a fast-paced, action-y standoff situation we got going here. So the other thing that I thought was a big difference, because the way it happens just affects the movie enough, is finding out about the tongue, the boy's tongue being removed. So like it's more suspicious in the original version because it just is. The way they reveal it, they just kind of mention that he's shy, They don't say like, yeah, he doesn't have a tongue, so that's why he's not fucking saying anything. They're just like, yeah, he's shy and shit, And then finally the boy starts to show Bjorn his tongue. But in the remake, right away, they're just like, yeah, fucking, I think the kid's name is Ant in the remake. They're like, yeah, he was born without a tongue and shit, so he's not going to talk to you guys very much. And they're just kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, very cool, So it just felt like it had way less weight to it, because the reason why it works in the original is because it seems like it's something that they're almost like trying to hide until they can't hide it anymore. Kind of like the doctor thing and any of those other little things that they lied to them about that they, find out while they're in the middle of staying with them. And it's just kind of like, oh, fuck, we need to get out of here. And, let me see here. Oh, yeah. And like the decision to stay with these new friends, I feel like the original does a way better job with that too. And the new one, there's no like back and forth really. Or like at first, I feel like the wife is kind of like, no, we're not going to fucking do that, But then the husband just kind of like talks her into it. They don't have the meeting with the other friends and like that thing. You don't really see how much the husband like clearly wants to do this as much in the remake, which I think that kind of allows you to believe all this other bullshit that's going on, because you're like, okay, this guy like has something else going on, like mentally, like he's depressed or something, so he's doing whatever he can to kind of like try something new, I guess. In the new one, the remake, the boy is constantly trying to warn Agnes. So that's kind of another thing where like he's constantly like showing her like how he has all these bruises on his body and shit. And he's like, hey, like doing the like cut it out sign to his neck. He's like, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. And you got to get me the fuck out of here, And what's her name? Gosh, I can't even think of the fucking girl's name now. Anyway, the little girl, she is just kind of like, oh shit, was something going on here, bud? Like you got fucking bruises all over your body and shit. And the big reveal where in the original Bjorn finds all the pictures, actually in the new one, Ant or, the little boy shows the little girl all the pictures and stuff. And he's just kind of like, he's like, hey, look at these fucking pictures. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it? There's all these families and shit, and they have new kids, and the new kids are the kids from the old picture. And then he gets to his picture, and in his picture, he's like sticking out his tongue, which made me fucking LOL. It's like, okay, could you be a little more on the nose? It's like, oh, see, I did used to have a fucking tongue. These motherfuckers cut my damn tongue out. And, luck would have it that I was just sticking my damn tongue out in the picture that we got together. And so she really gets it. And she's like, damn, I need to tell my parents. And she does. She like pretends to have her period so that she can get her mom alone. And she took she took a bunch of pictures on her cell phone to show her mom, so the mom can't like argue with it or anything. And she's just like, oh, fuck, we need to tell your damn dad and we need to get the fuck out of here. The other thing, the main couple's relationship is quite a bit different. You don't really, like, you kind of get the idea that in the original, the main couple is just like unhappy. Maybe not so much like unhappy together, but they're just kind of like unfulfilled in life or something like that. You know what I mean? In the remake, they're kind of like that, but they have this thing going on where like they constantly bring up how the wife cheated on the husband by like sexting some guy and like getting dick pics sent to her phone and stuff like that. So that's kind of like always in the background, like being used as like an argument point, basically. Also, Dennis Reynolds should have played the dad in the remake. I think that would have been fantastic. I think he would have fucking killed it, because really in the remake, the family doesn't die. The good family doesn't die. The kid doesn't die. The little boy doesn't die or anything like that. They win in the remake, which I feel like is, that's kind of like what I was expecting when I heard that there was going to be an American remake of this movie. But Dennis Reynolds would have been a way better dad in this movie, like the good dad. I don't know. For some reason, I just kept picturing him playing the dad, and it fit perfectly in my head. They make the dad, when they are like fighting back and, attacking these people and killing him and stuff like that, they make the dad just like a weak, do nothing, can't do shit motherfucking guy. Like there's like one moment where he almost gets the upper hand on their like helper, like their Mohammed character in the new movie. But then he just like starts getting his fucking ass beat and he's about to get killed. And the wife has to save him by like claw hammering the guy's head or whatever to death. And it's one of those things where like he got the jump on the guy with a hammer and then somehow he still ends up getting his fucking ass whooped and about getting killed. And it's kind of like that every time he gets an advantage on somebody, he just like attacks them and then just like gets like fucking launched off of them and gets his ass whooped. And then the wife comes and saves him. And it's like, okay, we get it. She's a fucking badass. And the husband is like the weakest pussy, maybe not as bad as Bjorn, but he's a pretty goddamn big pussy in this movie too. The first time that they decide to leave is quite a bit different. I can't remember. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I remember what happens. So it's the scene where like, the wife finds their daughter in bed. So in the remake, it's not as extreme, I would say, because it's like, for one, Patrick's not naked. He's wearing like his underwear or something like that. And the boy and the girl are in bed between them. So the girl's not like butted up against this naked grown man or whatever, but still definitely enough reason to leave, but it's just not as extreme. Also, a big difference is that James McAvoy is in the remake. And see, this is one of those things where I feel like this is like a selling point for a lot of people that I heard about when this was coming out. They're like, oh yeah, you got to see this movie. It's a James McAvoy movie. The fucking guy from Split, the fucking guy from X-Men and shit like that. James McAvoy is obviously a great character actor, good at what he does and stuff like that. He's pretty fucking hit or miss for me overall. Like not as an actor or anything like that. Just, I don't know how to describe it. It's a little too much sometimes. I feel like he's always like especially in this movie, the bad guy in the original is like subtle enough. Like he's a fucking asshole. He's way too assertive and way too just like aggressive with everything he does. But he's not James McAvoy aggressive where he's like, James McAvoy will do that, like almost like a Jack Nicholson face at them while he's like holding his breath and making all the blood go to his fucking face and stuff like that. And he's just like, oh yeah, oh, you gotta stay in my house. And it's just like, okay, this guy's a psychopath. Leave now. Like the other guy in the original movie, you could at least pass off as like, okay, he's a little eccentric. He's a little too much, but he's probably harmless kind of thing. James McAvoy looks like he's about to fucking tear his own head off at any second and just fucking freak out. I don't know. I felt like it was too much for this movie for sure. Too much where it's just like, no, I would not stay the fucking night at this guy's house. Never. I would not bring my family to this fucking guy's house ever. And then the screaming scene, it's a little thing. It's definitely nitpicky for me, but it's just shot so much better in the original. That's all I'm going to say about that. It feels way too fucking almost like Marvel movie-esque in the remake for some reason. Just like how you would expect that scene to go in a Marvel movie, basically. The I'm not a doctor reveal sucks as well in the remake. Basically, he's like, yeah, I'm not a doctor. And they're like, what? You told us you were a doctor. And he's like, I'm just kidding. I am a doctor. And it's just kind of like, okay, it's way fucking more suspenseful when he just straight up tells him, I just lied to you, motherfuckers. McAvoy getting suspicious is kind of bullshit in the new movie. There's just like, he gets suspicious that they know what's going on for literally no reason. Like the daughter tells them in privacy, like what she knows about the kidnapping and stuff like that, and the boy getting his tongue cut off and everything. They're like in a locked bathroom while she's telling him this, and she just showed up with like blood all over her like leg and hands, and is like, I just got my period. But then, like, while this is going on, for some reason McAvoy just starts getting suspicious. Like, he's just watching the bathroom, like making like the Jack Nicholson face and stuff, like, are they figuring it out? Are they figuring out my secrets?
What?
It's like, why would he think that?
What?
There's no reason for him to think that. It's just because the movie needs him to. So the because you let us line sucks in the remake. This is one of those things where, like, if you saw the remake and didn't see the original, I could see how you would maybe be like, yeah, that movie was fun or whatever, fucking popcorn flick, like a little bit of a thriller, I guess, kind of movie. But just the way everything's done in the original is so much better that it makes it hard to like the remake at all, because this line feels very deserved in the original. It's like the slam dunk at the end of the movie, and this one they just kind of like throw it out there. They pretty much do the same dialogue throughout this entire movie. It's just like sped up. It feels like they're like, okay, let's get through all this bullshit so we can get to the fucking kick-ass ending with monster trucks and machine guns and shit. So other than that, I think the last thing I have here is just the relationship between the bad guy and the bad lady, the James McAvoy and the Karen or whatever. So we kind of find out during that like dinner at the bar, the awkward dinner at the bar, that the Karen is way, way, way younger than James McAvoy's character. And the husband and wife, or the wife kind of says something to the Bjorn, the dad character, like, wait, how old was she when they met? And he's just like, oh, just drop it, Louise. Don't even fucking worry about it, bitch. You're fucking ruining my fucking vibe right now. I'm trying to vibe out with James McAvoy and shit, and you're fucking talking about how he's a fucking pedophile and shit like that. We don't need to be talking about that shit. We just need to be having a fucking good time. Let James McAvoy take us on a goddamn vacation right now, bitch. But that is the whole thing. Basically, they find out that like the Louise character was a kid that he kidnapped from like early on, whenever he started this kidnapping hobby that he's been doing for apparently like 15, 20 fucking years. Like it's his goddamn full-time job or something. He's collecting a 401k off of kidnapping people at his damn farm. So that is a whole nother thing that isn't brought up in the original. And I feel like it's better without it. It just feels fucking dumb as hell that they're like, yeah, he's like, kidnapped this kid, I guess, and like, groomed her to be his wife and also helped kidnap people and stuff like that. I don't know. It just feels fucking stupid. Anyway, this whole thing, I feel like I've been going on and on about this goddamn movie, and I'm sick of it. Because it would be like if they remade Funny Games, they did remake Funny Games, but it would be like if the remake of Funny Games ended with the family just like kicking the intruders' asses, and specifically the little kid. I guess the last thing is, so the little boy, Ant or Abel or whatever the fuck you want to call him, the little boy ends up killing James McAvoy at the end of it. Basically, like the dad has a chance to blow him away again. Because this, I'm going to have to get back to this, because the scene when they first escape and they have the shotgun and they have them like at gunpoint in the room and they just leave the room and just leave them there for some fucking reason. It's one of those things too, where in like movies, I get why people wouldn't want to be like, yeah, this is my chance. I'm just going to splatter this person all over the wall and fucking kill them. Like, I get that that's not like necessarily a realistic thing for everyone to just be like cool with all of a sudden like murdering someone, whether it's deserved or not. But in this situation, if you're you were just about to get killed. These people are about to tranquilize you. They just stole your money and just explained how they're going to kill you and kidnap your daughter and stuff like that. And they're like, yep, we're working on that right now, guys. Just a matter of seconds before you're dead and your daughter's ours. And then you get the chance to get away and you have them at gunpoint. Come up with a better plan than leaving. And I'm not saying blow both their heads off. You know, maybe that's your choice. Maybe it's not. Shoot their feet off at least. Like, you could live with that. Like, I think most people could live with that. You're like, okay, these people were about to kill me. I don't want to kill them because I'm just not that person. I couldn't live with it on my conscience. I would be like, hey, you know what, guys? Get on the ground, put your hands behind your back, and then I'd walk over there and shoot their feet off. And I would be like, you know what? That's fair, right? Your whole plan was to kill us and murder us at your house. You've been working on this plan for months, apparently, to lure us out here. I think I am allowed to shoot off your fucking feet and then leave. And I think that would be appropriate. But I just don't get why in these situations, like, why wouldn't you take advantage of this? You finally have the upper hand. Stick with it. See it through at least. Don't just try to peel out of there because you know some other bullshit's probably going to happen. You need to get the fucking cops over there, motherfuckers. But anyway, at the very end, James McAvoy's character gets all fucked up. Louise gets killed. She like falls off the roof or something like that. The Muhammad guy gets killed by the wife. And James McAvoy, he's on the ground. He's all fucked up. He's, dying and shit. The dad has the shotgun pointed at his head and he's just like, oh yeah, do it, kill me or whatever, I guess. But the dad's not going to do it. He's like, nah, we're just going to fucking leave because you're all fucked up now and you ain't going to do shit, bitch. But then the son, the little kidnapped son without the tongue, he just runs up there, grabs a big rock and just smashes James McAvoy's face in with it. So it's like, okay. I guess that's the ending we all wanted. That's why they had to remake this whole goddamn movie so that we could have that fantastic ending. Just kidding. It's a suck-ass ending and I do not like it. So that's why I was saying it would be like Funny Games, but if the little kid ended up like fucking up the intruders, like Home Alone style. So the 2022 version is going to be a 3.5 out of 5 for me. Probably, I would say this movie's probably more like a 4 out of 5 overall, just like as a movie. But for me, I'd say it's a 3.5 out of 5. So that's where it's sitting. The 2024 remake is going to get about a whole point knocked off. I'd say around a 2.5 movie, 2.5 out of 5 movie or something like that. It just did not do much for me, especially watching these back to back. So next week we're staying on task. We're getting into more bummer ass movies. Like I said earlier, the next one on the watch list is a little movie called Irreversible. If you've seen this movie, I think you probably know why this is a bummer ass movie. I haven't seen it yet. All these are going to be first time watches for me. They're all movies that I've heard about. Like I kind of know the lore, like why they're hard watches, why people don't want to see them and stuff like that. This is one I've been like anticipating for a while. When I put this list out or this idea out, I had Irreversible as like one of the choices. And some random guy on Instagram messaged me and was like begging me not to watch this movie. He's like, trust me, bro, you do not want to watch Irreversible. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I've heard it's pretty bad and stuff. And he's just like, seriously, just skip it. You'll be better off. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I'm going to watch it. I just, didn't know if there's other movies out there that are going to be worse for me. Cause I guess that's the whole point of this list is find the worst movies for me to watch that are going to hurt my feelings the most. And so Irreversible is next. Stay tuned for that. Stick around next week to find out my feelings about the movie Irreversible. I've also seen all the clips where people are leaving like the Cannes Film Festival showing of it, and they're just like, fuck that goddamn movie. Motherfucking Gaspar Noé or whatever, motherfucker. Hate that shit. But anyway, thanks for listening and good night.
God damn.